Good day, everybody. This is Kevin Hogan, author of over 20 books that have been translated into over 40 languages all across the world. Thank you very much for making that happen. It's all about you. I appreciate it very much. Today, the persuasion tool of authority. Authority, to me, always makes me think of Stanley Milgram, who is just a genius. Milgram came up with a great experiment back in the early 70s where he hooked up a person and allowed students to come in, volunteer subjects and all this, over over a few years at all kinds of contexts. He had doctors come in and see if he could get them to electrocute this guy over here. If you haven't read the Obedience to Authority, you got to go do it. Because what you learn from obedience to authority, megalithic numbers of lessons, but one of them is that no doesn't mean anything. You know, people think, oh, well, you know, I said no to him. Well, I'm sorry. No really doesn't mean anything whether you think it does or not. Read Obedience to Authority. No is something that people struggle with, something that people don't know about. They're not sure about it. No and yes don't mean anything. You can say no and still kill somebody. Okay, so Stanley Milgram standing over his subject here, and the guy is getting ready to shock this person because they didn't spell the word right in the scientific study. And it says, danger, high voltage, death possible, 300 volts. Student looks up at Milgram. Milgram says, it's fine. I don't think I should. It's fine, go ahead. I didn't know, I don't want to do it. Just do it. Okay, guy dies. I mean, he doesn't really die, but this was the last time they could do these experiments, was in the 70s, because they became unethical. Thank God we found out what the results were, that people, after they say no, are happy to kill this guy. 60% of the time they do. They do. And when the study was replicated in France, and instead of having a college campus or a warehouse or a professor's office as the setting, when they used the television show, 88% of the people that came as volunteers, they thought it was a TV show they were on, 88% were willing to put the voltage high enough to take this person out and kill them. This happened in France 6 or 7 years ago. So when people say, oh, Kev, that happened in the news and that happened down in Vegas, and you know what? This has nothing to do with any of the things that anybody thinks about. This is all about a whole different set of world. We'll talk about that in a different video. Nevertheless, no doesn't mean a whole lot of anything. No is really just the thing that I said out loud here. And if I don't like the result of what happens, then I can use no as an excuse. I can say, well, you know, I said no, I didn't want to kill the guy. You know, this is where, again, it's not real. It's the electric shock, which doesn't exist. The wires end up nowhere. Okay, they don't go to the guy in the other room. Read Obedience to Authority. Awesome book. Now, no is pretty important because we say no and then we say yes. In order to get to yes over here, I typically require no coming out of my mouth 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Kev, do you want to go? No, I don't want to go. Kev, do you want to go too? No, I really don't want to go. Kev, would you like it if somebody came? No, I don't really want that either. Kev, and people will ask and ask and ask, and then pretty soon they wear me down, because that is how you win. And I'll say, okay, fine, we will go there, and we'll do that. Or they can come here, and we'll do this. And it takes 7, 8, 9, 10 no's to get me to say yes. So no is the predecessor to yes. So there's two things here. One of them is sort of that wear down effect, which with people like me is very necessary. However, if I'm a skeptic, now in some things I'm just an emotional feeling person like anybody else, believe it or not. But in other things, I'm just a skeptic of things because I actually have knowledge of them myself. So if I see the pest control guy over here and I happen to know that all of the tools that have been utilized, they don't work, that have been tried here, at least in Minnesota. So the fact is the more that a person tries to wear me down, I simply close the door. Have a very good day, take care, because I was stupid enough to open up the door. No doesn't mean a lot. But if you want to make a great argument, here's how you do it. Because think of this. When you get into, we're just going to put no here for a second. When you get into the shower, and you know it's cool, it's really cold at first, right? You set it up on hot, you know, or medium or something, and you kind of sit there and you go like this and hope that it'll warm up eventually. And then pretty soon you're like sitting there and you're all warm and everything is good. And then all of a sudden, you've been there for a while and somebody uses the cold water downstairs. your shower gets really hot really fast. And now you jump out of the shower. Or it was warm and then somebody used the hot water in, say, the dishwasher, or not the dishwasher, but the laundry. I guess that would do it, in the laundry room. So now they got the hot water coming out, and now all that's left is cold water. And now you're freezing. So freezing or hot doesn't matter. You jump out, and it was only freezing or hot for 20 seconds, but you were in there for 10 minutes. How was your shower? It was terrible. It was freezing. Why did you do that? So you had 10 minutes of pleasure, 20 seconds of frustration, and you're willing to have the argument with the person over here. I didn't know. I had no idea. Now let's bring this back over here. When a person has said no, you can say, look, Kev, here's the deal. I know you're going to say no to every single idea that I have, but the last idea is actually going to be a pretty good one. So what I'd like to do is just have you believe that we went through this whole process of disagreeing and agreeing and disagreeing, agreeing to disagree on stuff, and now I'm going to suggest that you go to Italy because you had such a good time the last time you were there. So is that okay? Can you do that? And I'll say, yeah, I can do that. So you literally took a person through a process that could have taken 20, 30 minutes, and in 30 seconds you brought them into the future using the tool that is, we remember experiences by the very last thing that happened in the experience. The last 30 seconds. So bring people through the experience to the emotion that you need them to have on a roller coaster. Kev, you're going to say no and no and no and no and no. But then I'm going to give you a great idea, which is going to lead you to yes anyway. So is it fair enough that we go through all the things? I'm not going to even go through all the stuff that was going to make you say no, because that's 20, 30 minutes of stuff, and you don't have time and I don't have time to utilize. We can both get a lot more done. I just want you to do this because I know you've done this in the past. You had a great time. You said you wanted to go back. I want you to go to Italy. Fair? Cool? And I'll say, fine, we'll do that. Okay? And that's how you bring people from no to yes. No doesn't necessarily mean much of anything. I know until, and in the psychology of persuasion, I wrote a little bit about this, but as I learn more about Milgram's experiments and the Zimbardo experiments, and you find out more of the real hard psychological studies, you never realize just how valuable and powerful asking really is. People will do pretty much anything. It's your job to make sure they do something that's cool, that is going to be valuable for them, a great experience, good thing in their life, and that you are the tool, the trigger that caused them to make a great decision and do something cool, like sending me to Italy. Okay, guys, that's it. I'll see you here next time.